Hey there makers, welcome back to Middleton Made. Today we're going to take a really quick look at print orientation, specifically with the beer brat, but this conversation should be said for pretty much all of the prints. Layer orientation, specifically with 3D printing, is talking about which orientation the print is going to be laid down on the bed, because the prints generally are going to be doing a vertical orientation in its printing. So it's going to be perfectly flat and level to the bed, going up and down. Your layer orientation throughout the part will change depending on how you angle your part. It gets a lot more important when you're doing frames and receivers and big stuff like that, but with non-firearms and other trinkets and toys and whatever else you got going on, it is also important to make sure that they are orientated in the correct way. If they're not, thin parts, such as a part like right here, could easily crack if you have a layer line going all the way along it. Instead of having the layers working together, you're putting all of that trust and all of the forces into one layer that can just pull apart. Whereas if it's angled, like on this one, clearly a bad print, but it shows off the angle that it was printed at, the forces that would be exerted on this would have to go through much more in order to rip all the way across one of the layers on this and break it free from the rail. If layer orientation is implemented into the file that you're using, so I am now exporting all of my stuff into 3MF. I'm not doing STLs anymore. 3MF will generally put this in the orientation that I want you to print it. I also include in the README a file that says suggested print orientation. So if you decide to start moving stuff around and something gets messed up, you at least have that to reference back to. If the designer of whatever part or whatever trinket or whatever thing that you're printing has a README file and shows what orientation to print it in, even if it requires more material, just do it. It's going to cost more material if you break a part because you didn't follow that orientation. Now the exception with mine, and I'll be updating the README today, is CF nylon, probably with GF2, glass filled or carbon filled. This carbon filled nylon I'm using from Qidi. I believe that's how you spell it, or say it, Qidi, Qidi. This stuff was printed completely horizontally in the wrong orientation like this. I do believe that it's fine with this material. I haven't had any issues with it yet, but the PLA Plus ones pretty much straight away have issues with that type of orientation. So please follow the orientation on all of your designer's prints, and you can't stop the signal. We'll see you next time.